Welcome back, fans of Magic the Gathering, because it's time for another installment of your weekly top 10. These are the hottest selling cards in Magic the Gathering this week from April 6th to the 12th of 2024. We have a lot of new contenders coming at us from Thunder Junction and a few oldies but goodies that refuse to leave the top 10. Let's get the party started. Hi everyone and welcome back. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me on my channel today. A reminder that if you enjoyed today's content, don't forget guys, like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notification bell. New content every single day. And of course, if you want to support the channel further, you can find me on Patreon or just click my TCG Player affiliate link and you're helping the channel right away. So let's start out at the number 10 card this week. And yes, it's still Lord of the Rings, Lorien Revealed. This thing refuses to go anywhere. Although the sales are a real knockoff from what we've seen in the past, they're really dipping down a lot lower than I expected to see for the top 10. This is where the sales are at right now. So Lorien Revealed is 465 sales this week, or $1,269.45 of sales volume, because the card's only $2.73. So this card is still being used by a lot of players, but it looks like the interest on a lot of cards right now, the market itself is really turning around as it gets ready for Modern Horizons 3. That's the biggest indicator, because when we look at the pre-release sales and the boxes being sold, you can see money is starting to be directed down that tunnel, and the singles market seems to be in a standby as we get ready to see what spoilers come up in the next 30 to 40 days. Alright guys, let's go ahead and take a look at the number 9 card, and this is Kellyan Joins Up. Now this card's only $1.59, and it didn't even make 1,000 sales so far that I could count up. It's at 897 sales from the 6th to the 12th, but it's still a great card for 1 blue, 1 white, and 1 green. This legendary enchantment, when it enters the battlefield, you may exile a non-land card with mana value 3 or less from your hand. If you do, it becomes plotted, which is always a good effect in this new game. And whenever a legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Let's face it guys, a great little kind of mix-up mechanic card you're going to have a lot of fun with. Expect to see cards like this finding homes in Commander, absolutely, and it's going to see standard play. So this card right now may only be $1.50, but cards like this can be a breakout card if it really gets going. So keep your eye out. You might want to pick up 4 copies right away before it gets too high. I mean, $6, pretty reasonable. Now our next card. Again, we're staying in there at high noon with the Outlaws of Thunder Junction. This card's $1.72 on average, and we've got 923 sales this week to give us a whole total sales volume of only $1,587.56. Now, this is a card I noted before as a pretty valuable card in Standard because of the fact that it comes into play and players can't play more than one spell, and you can also sacrifice it for 5 damage to any target. Means it can be an early game helper and a late game boomstick to just smack an opponent upside the face. It's a great card, guys. I can see players using it. I expect to see this a lot in arena matches in the next 20 days as players kind of figure out exactly how they want to augment their decks, and later in the year when things rotate out, cards will start having a lot more uses when we finally see some of these older sets like Kamigawa leaving. Okay, so keep an eye on it because it's cards like this may get a little bit funky later on. Now, let's go down and take a look at our number 7 card this week. And when you look at cards like this, you're a little bit, I mean, the Claim Jumper is a card I've noted because it just has a lot of uses. Now, let's just go over the fact that it's 1,240 sales. That's not a huge amount for this channel, but it's got $2.48 as an average price, which is $3,075.20. But it's a 3/3 creature for 3. But it also has Vigilance, and when it comes into the battlefield, if your opponent has more lands than you, you get to search your library for a Plains card and put it on the battlefield tapped. And if an opponent controls more lands than you against, you repeat the process. You see where I'm going with this? This is basically Tithe. This is an amazing card to have, and it's a creature. The artwork is actually pretty good. I actually like the card a lot, and I think this card's going to have significant uses later on. So this is a card I'm keeping a close eye on, and yeah, I actually pre-ordered 4 copies just in case I build a standard deck with it. I want to have this thing available, so I went ahead and got my copies out of the way, and I got mine for about $3 Canadian per copy. So I'm happy with my choice. Now, let's not forget, guys, as we go through the list, that a lot of these cards in the next 20 days are really going to find, we're going to see how good the sales are depending on how these cards find homes or are ignored by the market space because they can't make it work. Now our number 6 card is 3 steps ahead. 1,310 sales this week, or $2,737.90 of sales volume. $2.09. This card has Spree, and this is a game effect along with Plotted that's going to have a lot of funky uses. This thing starts as a 1, but you can pay an additional 1 blue and 1 other, you get to counter a spell. Pay an additional 3, hey, create a token. That's a copy of a target artifact or creature you control. And then, of course, you can also pay another 2 and then draw 2 cards and discard a card. Early game, mid game, late game, this card is going to have a lot of uses, and you get it all for 1 card, which means putting 4 of these in deck and using them at different times of the game is not going to hurt you. I love the idea of this for a standard deck. Now, jumping in to number 5. This is War Leader's Call, still Murders at Karlov Manor. This thing continues to see dominant play. I'm seeing this thing all over the place, and the sales are still pretty consistent. 1,329 sales, or $13,024 in sales volume. The price went up by only 15 cents this week. It's $9.80, but it's still the consistency that I really like. With a card like this, finding a lot of homes, the fact it gives +1/+1s, the fact that opponents have to deal with this or it's going to take damage. I've seen a lot more cards right now, especially in Standard, in my local shops, but also on Arena when I'm playing against people, and you can see people have to deal with this card. So there's more disenchants, there's more forced gamesmanship. You have to be prepared for cards like this, and it's forcing players to alter their decks to come up with ways of countering that card. So I think that's just a really good sign that things are getting back to a healthy makeup of what you have to deal with in the game. Now, Obeka, the Splitter of Seconds. Now, I'm going to be honest, guys. Hold on. This thing's 1,345 sales. This card's $4.99, $6,711.55. Now, I looked at this card a couple of times. Has Menace. But it says, whenever Obeka, Splitter of Seconds, deals combat damage to a player, you get that many additional upkeep steps after this phase. So, this is interesting, okay? Cards like this and the funky ways you can use them. Because don't forget, when you're playing, of course, a Commander game, somebody else may not be able to block this thing depending on when you can get it out. It's also an Ogre Warlock, which kind of touches back on D&D, and the thing's 4 to get out for a 2/5. It's not a super huge creature, but the Menace means it's probably going to get around a few things. So keep cards like this in mind. It's really dropped in value now, but I think we have to wait and see how cards like this play out. Again, you got to get that post-90. You got to get the 90 days after release. We'll see. Now, Vraska joins up. I like this card from the onset. I did mention in the earlier video, 1,359 sales, $2,255.94 in sales volume, and $1.66 is the average. But I like the casting cost. 1 black, 1 green, legendary enchantment. When Vraska joins up, enters the battlefield, put a death touch counter on each creature you control. That's sick. That's awesome. And whenever a legendary creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you get to draw a card. They do know that there's tons of things that cost really cheap now that are legendary and can go smashing people, and we seem to have an abundance of legendary creatures in this set, as well as a whole myriad selection inside of Standard right now. And of course, let's not forget this thing could be in Commander decks. What a great card, okay? Now, let's go ahead, let's jump down and take a look at our next card today. And here we are diving in again to the Outlaws of Thunder Junction, and this is Annie Joins Up. $3.13 is the average price. 1,474 sales means it takes the number 2 spot with $4,613.62 in sales volume. 1 white, 1 green, 1 red, and 1 generic, and she's going to join your team. When Annie Joins Up enters the battlefield, it deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. If a triggered ability of a legendary creature you control triggers, it triggers additional time. Talk about token creation. Talk about just multiplying. Wizards is really big on this. It's going to find homes in Commander. It's going to be a disgusting card to deal with. And building the right type of deck around this just means it's going to be a nightmare for people. So I can see why some people are going to love this card, and I can see why some people are just going to hate this card. You can just see it playing out. But now, we've gone to the end. We have to get to the number 1 card. We have to show you what you all came here to see. And it's from Murders at Karlov Manor. We are still with Pick Your Poison. This card is gaining a little bit of traction here, guys. It has gone, again, about 25 cents higher than last week. 1,920 sales. $3,360 in sales volume. Now, again, look at this, okay? Just look very closely. Choose one. Each opponent sacrifices an artifact. Each opponent sacrifices an enchantment. Each opponent sacrifices a creature with flying. Yes, it's Homing Commander. I get that. But we just talked about all these new enchantments we are seeing in the Outlaws of Thunder Junction. All these legendary enchantments and things that have to be dealt with means this is a card that you're going to see 4 of in so many decks. If you aren't already seeing it, you can see why the sales are just racking up for this card and why they're continually showing up as a $2 card, because these commons are not like they used to be. Now, let's jump to the wrap up here. Don't disappear. We still got to talk about some of the stuff that's going on in the market space for Magic the Gathering. Now, you would think that the Magic the Gathering marketplace would not be a very complicated place to deal in. You want to buy a card, you hit the single, you buy it. You want to see a sealed product, you want to buy the sealed product, you're done. Unfortunately, it comes into direct conflict with the rest of your life. From food to rent, clothing, everything you can think of that's not the hobby, Magic the Gathering. So that means there's only so much money to go around. And when players are gearing up for what could be a tremendous, massive, huge hit of Modern Horizons 3, we don't know yet, but everyone's kind of betting on it at this point. Everyone is pooling money and resources, and that means money is being sucked out of the market space for singles right now. But here's the thing. Please don't ignore the cards I'm showing you on these top 10s. They're selling for a reason, but not only that, cards like Pick Your Poison, some of these cards, if you're going to be playing in Standard or playing in well, basically anything that can use any of these cards, you want to keep an eye on them, because I'm not saying they're going to go to $5-6 or anything, but as less are being opened, like Murders of Karlov Manor's Pick Your Poison, it's not being opened, right? There aren't new boxes being opened every day. Yeah, there's a few here and there, but it's not like it used to be. So I still expect some of these cards to do weird things. And if people are saving money for Modern Horizons 3, and we're not jumping in on things like the Outlaws of Thunder Junction, you're not jumping in on these new cards, there's less in the market space, which means prices tend to go up way faster than we've seen. And I think that's what we're going to continue to see as we get closer to Modern Horizons 3 and more money gets pooled up. And heaven forbid there's any crazy stuff that gets showed to us in the spoiler season, which has players just jumping on it and siphoning even more money out of the secondary market until Modern Horizons 3 drops. And then the money floods out again. And then as players build decks and create things, they're going to start deciding to pick up all these singles, which means somebody's going to get rich. Somebody who buys the cards now or has been buying them at the lower prices will probably stand to make some money if they've made some good choices, some good picks, maybe a TCG direct seller, maybe it's going to be somebody on eBay or a Facebook group, who knows, there's so many choices of selling nowadays. But the idea of it, and of course, by the way, don't forget to use my TCG Play affiliate link, it's found in the description of this video. Thanks, man. I got to show for myself, come on guys, we got to help the channel out. But yeah, I can see it kind of looming over the horizon on what a market like this is going to do, because it looks simple on the surface, but there's just so many factors to weigh in on that it's always an interesting time when a big set's going to drop, when players know it's going to be big, or at least are betting on it going to be big. So I can't wait to see how this all turns out in the next 60 days, because I don't think the sales are going to improve. I'm going to state it right here at the end of the video. If you made it this far, I'm telling you, I don't think we're going to see massive sales the next little while. I don't think it's going to happen, because I think people only have so much cash and they're saving up for bigger things. Guys, thanks again for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out with me on the channel today. Don't be afraid to drop some comments in the comments section. Let me know what you guys are thinking out there, and have a wonderful day. Maybe you're at a pre-release for Thunder Junction. Maybe you're waiting for my top 10 reserve list video tomorrow, but don't worry, it's coming. We're going to have a good time there too. And of course, we have the live stream 6:30 Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. Guys, thanks again. Have a great day. Oh, you made it. We're here at the end. You've tidied your room, you put your dishes away, you've taken out the trash, and now you get to see the amazing people who support my channel each and every day. These are the patrons of the channel. These are the YouTube membership guys, these are the ones who make it happen. I can't thank them enough. I'm going to do it every day until this channel no longer exists, which is never going to happen. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow. Welcome back to the Boomstick Edition. This is the after party in which only those people who know about it are invited. But to know about it, you have to watch the videos to the end. And sometimes that can be a tricky thing in life. You make assumptions partway through my video and you leave me to go clean your room. You leave me to go do dishes. What are you thinking? Watch the whole video. Watch all the commercials. Be here till the end. Till you're here at the Ramble Jamble every day, because you know this is where things go down. Guys, Thanks for making it to the end. Okay, you made it this far. You're here at the end. That's amazing. Guys, when I look at what's been going on with these sales, because they are lower, it's not taking me as long to count. I don't have to pull in extra help. It's just kind of like trending down. And it's been getting a little bit lower. Not every week, obviously, but overall, the sales are down from what we've seen in the past. Now, it does mean that singles aren't selling in other areas. It doesn't mean that things are really horrible out there. It just means things are more leveled out. They're not being top heavy on one particular card, but things like Pick Your Poison, you can see why they're going to be popular now. When you see all these types of enchantments, Wizards, they always link things up. I know I've talked about this in the channel, but I hope you guys figure it out. Like, I hope people really understand. They're not really thinking outside the box. They're following a formula. And the formula just connects like Lego. This enchantment can be countered by this type of spell. This artifact can be countered by this. It's just a perfect little fitting puzzle box. Hellraiser style. Remember that, Pinhead? Oh. Anyway, it fits like that because they want it nice and easy. And they want to know which cards they can put in Commander, which ones are going to Modern, which ones are going to Standard. And because of that, it's very formulaic. You can pick it apart very easily. And that's good because it lets you know which cards to make a lot of money on. And maybe I did okay on a couple of cards. Maybe. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. I'm not going to tell you yet until I know. But it looks like it's going to come out that way. So I'll let you guys know. We'll talk about this in the future. I'll probably have some other little anecdotal things to go over in the next few weeks. But we have to wait. We have to wait and see. Anyway, have a great day. Go tidy up now. Go help out the significant other. Go vacuum the floors. Go pick up the trash. Take that cardboard out to the... Oh, wait. I'm talking about me, not you. I don't know where I'm doing with this, okay? Have a great one, guys.